Alright, before I go to bed, I want to do a quick video. I want to do an entertainment guy video. And I'm going to wear the only jersey I didn't pack today. I packed all my other entertainment guy jerseys. I've got to make sure I get everything all packed up for the move on the 1st of the month. The big house and all. Not jail. Big house. You don't move into a jail. Although if we could rent, that would be fantastic. If you could find an old abandoned. I've always wanted to live in an old church. Anyway, I'm getting off track. This is what I drink. I drink Coca-Cola Cherry. This is Cherry Coke Zero. We go to the States to get this. I don't generally drink Pepsi, which is why I find the most recent Pepsi ad, which I will link in the description below, hilarious. We've all had this experience where waiter comes over, what would you like to drink? Can I have a Coke? And they go, we have Pepsi, is that all right? What is your answer? Do you know what my answer is? Kind of root beer do you have? And if they say, they'll probably say Barks or Mug, and I go, yeah, I'll get one of those. I never, ever get a Pepsi. Because the funny thing is I don't like Pepsi. Now, I'm old enough to remember when they had the blind taste tests, and Pepsi wins blind taste tests. Now, I've looked into it, and I actually, when this commercial came out, I read some articles online, because the Coke versus Pepsi debate's always been fascinating to me. Pepsi was always number 2. Then in the 80s, they figured out we need brands. Or we need a brand. We need a face to put with our brands. So they used Michael J. Fox, and they used Michael Jackson. If your name was Michael, they liked you. And it helped. It caused Pepsi to start really gaining market share, and that's why Coke said, okay, we're going to change our flavor. And what they did was they made it sweeter. Pepsi is sweeter than Coke. On an initial sip, people will normally prefer Pepsi because we normally like things that are sweeter. I do not. Now, in reading that, the funny thing was I read that with Pepsi, there's a citrus flavor, and with Coke, there isn't. I was thinking, is there a citrus flavor with Pepsi? So I had to really think about it. I may have to sit down and do a taste test again. I know I don't like the taste of Pepsi. There's definitely something in the flavor I don't like. They are sweeter. Now, when it's a Pepsi with cherry in it, I like it quite a bit. Cherry Pepsi's fantastic. Now, I know it's the same thing with just cherry flavor added, but it's fantastic. And while I drink Cherry Coke Zero, part of it is the fact that my body's not a fan of Pepsi. Pepsi products in general. Stomach doesn't like it, just whatever. There's something else in Pepsi. That's why when people say, oh, don't drink Coke, that'll kill you. Well, something's going to kill me anyways. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so whatever. And you know, I generally avoid things that are really bad for me. So if pop's the only thing that I have going against me, I'm alright. And I can't live my life in fear of what might hurt me later because life's boring. But yeah, so I drink Coca-Cola, and I can handle regular Coke, but I don't like it as much as I used to. Once I got a taste for sugar-free and getting away from all the sugars, that sugar puts me off. But if I have to drink a Coke or a Pepsi, I'll say, yeah, give me the Coke. Do you want the Pepsi? No. It's sort of like when people say, what about Mountain Dew? No. One of my favorite lines ever on Simpsons was when Homer Simpson asked the guy selling the cow gulasch in New York. The whole New York episode is absolute flipping brilliance. It is the most perfect episode of anything ever put to the screen, and it's just animated. And when they asked him, or when he asked the guy, what do you have to wash that awful taste out of my mouth? And he goes, I have Mountain Dew or crab juice. And he goes, ugh, I'll have a crab juice. To this day, when somebody says, would you like a Mountain Dew, my answer is, you know what? I'll take the crab juice. Because I can't stand Mountain Dew, the regular flavor. So maybe I don't like citrus. So when I read that Pepsi's citrus flavored, I went, maybe we're onto something here, because I'm not a huge fan. Like, I hate grapefruit flavored anything with a passion. So maybe there's some kind of something in there. Now, this all brings me back to the most recent commercial. So we've gone through, you know, in the 80s, Pepsi gains their market share. Coke decides to go to New Coke, which I liked. I was probably one of the few people who really liked the new flavor of Coke. Then they brought out Coca-Cola Classic. So I did a blind taste test myself, and I went, all right, which one's which? And I went, all right, I know which one's which. I think I prefer the regular Coke Classic. And the reason I prefer the regular Coke Classic was because it wasn't as sweet. It wasn't as overpowering. One thing I've always found that if I'm drinking Pepsi, so if it's on special and I have to, I'm like, it's half the price of Coca-Cola. Fine, I'll drink Pepsi. I'll open up a can of it, I'll have 2 sips, and I don't touch it. The rest of it ends up getting dumped out because I just don't drink it. It's just, no. No thanks. Gross. So, when they went back to Coca-Cola Classic, of course, the marketing went through the roof, and Coke has become the #1. Now, of course, Coke and Pepsi own everything, whether it's Gatorade, Powerade, whether it's energy drinks, whatever you're drinking. Odds are, if it's flavored, it has either been branded by Coke or by Pepsi. And you can find, I don't think Jones Soda is owned by anybody, but part of me thinks, yeah, I think it's Coke. So that's how far-reaching they are, and Jones Soda is fantastic. Certain flavors are fantastic. Some of them are overpoweringly sweet as well. Now, the most recent commercial from Pepsi, which has got me thinking about this debate again, is a person in a restaurant saying, "Can I have a Coke?" And the waiter going, "Is Pepsi okay?" And in walks Steve Carell. "Is Pepsi okay?" And he goes on this whole thing, and then you have Cardi B and Little John in there. And I get it. They're using the celebs. Look, we have celebrities supporting us. Look at this. It's kind of harkens back to the 80s a bit, but they've used a lot of celebrities since the 80s, and it hasn't really made a big difference to Pepsi. They're acknowledging, I sit down in a restaurant, I'm gonna be like, "Can I have a Coke?" They're acknowledging that straight up. They're #2. And the end message from the commercial, and I looked at the YouTube video that, as I said, I link in the description, and everybody's saying the same thing I am. People are learning now that Pepsi's okay. The message out of the commercial is, Pepsi's okay. Not Pepsi's great, Pepsi's #1. Burn all your Coca-Cola merchandise because Pepsi's the greatest. It's just, Pepsi's okay. Would you like a Pepsi? Because Pepsi's okay. It's really, really weird. The closest I can come to finding an example of that would be when Burger King finally, without saying McDonald's, acknowledged McDonald's is bigger and probably better, and that when they decided how to fix their breakfast, because their breakfast menu wasn't very good, they actually showed the creepy Burger King mascot. Very creepy. He looked sort of like he looked sort of like this, the creepy Burger King mascot, and they show him actually sneaking into a McDonald's and stealing the sausage muffin without showing that it's a McDonald's. And I thought that was very clever. I was like, okay, so they're admitting their sausage muffin's better than anything we have on our menu. We'll just remake that. Clever. What Pepsi's doing is saying, here's our product. It's not as popular as Coke, and you probably don't like it as much. Here. And no. The honest question is, my favorite comment in as I said in the description of the video comment section is, customer says, or he says, I say, is Coke, do you guys have Coke? Waiter says, is Pepsi okay? And his answer is Monopoly money okay? I was like, that is perfect. Because, again, it's not all sodas created the same. I know, like, a few months ago, I thought, I didn't really like RC Cola, but maybe I didn't give it a real chance. Down in the States, I'm like, I'm going to try an RC because it's cheaper. So I got a bottle of RC Cola, and it wasn't good. About 2 sips in, I was like, and Yvonne looks at me, she's like, what? And I said, I should have spent the extra 50 cents. I should have spent the money. I would have had a drink I wanted to finish. I don't remember how long it took me to finish it. I want to say maybe 4 hours for a 500 milliliter bottle. No, I should have got a Diet Cherry Pepsi. That is absolutely the greatest thing created in the history of the world. And yet, I drink my Coke Zero. The only thing that Pepsi has going for it, the only thing I will say for Pepsi, and this is in Canada, their bottles are still 591 milliliters, and Coke's dropped to 500 milliliters. It's one of those things where products don't want to raise the price, so they just drop how much you're getting. They do that with snacks. They do that with pretty much everything now, where everything's just getting smaller, except produce. Until I figured a way to small and down everything. Someday it'll be, 39-cent watermelons. Oh, that's great. That's a tennis ball. What the hell? And then somebody somewhere's going to be like, that's great. We like tennis ball watermelons. I don't eat watermelon at all, so it won't affect me. But yeah, it's just funny to see Pepsi going, hi, we're okay. Why don't you want to drink us? Why don't you want to do that? What's wrong with us? And honestly, that would probably be a funnier commercial than what they come up with, considering it's Steve Carell. Steve Carell is one of the most naturally funny people on planet Earth, and it's not a great commercial. It's okay. The commercial is just okay, just like Pepsi. We're okay. There's no more ringing endorsement, and even, I guess the slogan's supposed to be more than okay. But all Little John says is okay, and all Cardi B says is her own way of saying okay. At no point do either of them say a word beyond that, or anything about how much they enjoy the product that they're supposedly endorsing. Watch the commercial. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And again, I find it very entertaining, because you're supposed to be selling that your product's the greatest. Even if you don't necessarily believe it, at least make it sound like your product might be the best. Again, I know most people hate soda, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I know it's all gut rot. It's cancer. I'm going to die. My cats are going to die because they're too close to me, and, sweeteners will kill me, and blah, blah, blah. The funny thing is that sucralose makes me sick. So if it's sweetened with sucralose, Splenda, I can't eat or drink it. And most drinks in the States now, what's happening is that they have sugar and Splenda in them. And when I see that, I'm like, okay, that's too sweet for me to even drink. Even if I could handle Splenda, what the hell do you need both for? So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And every now and then I get into the Gatorade thing. The problem is Gatorade tends to be more dehydrating than anything else. I'll drink, like, a lot of Gatorade, and I'll think, wow, I'm still thirsty. This is weird. And regular water, it's boring. There's no flavor to it. If I'm out in the desert, I'm dying, and somebody offers me water, sure. Like when we're in Vegas, I drink a lot of water. No pop, all water, because it's 45 degrees outside. I'm going to die. I better drink some water. So I'm not stupid. There is self-preservation in there. I enjoy flavored drink. That's like the only sin I got going for me. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Is Pepsi okay? My answer is always, do you have root beer? That's honestly my answer. Do you have root beer? Because in the States, that's often A&W that they'll have. And A&W root beer is always all right. And if it's in Canada, it's probably Barks, which is, it's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. Thank you for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And remember, randomness is kind of the way that videos work around here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.